What's poppin' YouTube? It's your girl KK and I'm back with another video. In today's video, I'm about to do a lace front wig install, a 13 by 4 a wig install on my beautiful client here. She did provide the wig from Amazon. Right here, all you can see me doing is spraying her edges back just so that they're protected. And you're gonna see me do my new updated bald cap method, which you see a lot of people doing. They update, they change how they do things here and there. It's just whatever works best for you. You find flaw in what you did the first time, you try to improve it. So that's what I did. So yeah, I just hit it with a little Gots to Be and bring the edges back. Nothing too major. And so I'll put this stocking cap on, well, this wig cap on, and I'll try to bring it back so that her edges stay sleek back, if that makes sense. I just really want to cover the edges. Make that little knot in the back so that's all I need. Cut that off because you don't need that access. And then I go in with another wig cap, and this is the one that I'm going to cut the ears out, and I'm going to like really mold this one down. But I like to use the first one for one of two reasons. Because for one, when you have a lace wig, that lace itches your scalp. And I feel like if you have two wig caps on, it kind of lessens the effect of the itchiness, because the lace isn't touching your scalp. And then also your edges are protected with this one. So you see me going in with my Bold Hold Liquid Gold to melt that second wig cap down. The first wig cap is on her edges. So it's really not touching her edges. Her edges are protected for the most part. Because I hear a lot of people say, oh, it rips your edges out. Oh, you're putting it on your edges. And so I just listen to what my clients say, and I feel like this way that they're more comfortable with their frontal because their edges are more protected. As you can see, her edges are barely peeking out through that second cap. Okay, and then after that's dry, I like to go in with a little bit of glue over it to make sure that stays down pretty much. Because the Bold Hold is gel. It's really good gel, but it is just gel. And I like to go in with the Bold Hold. This is, I think the regular one is what they had at the beauty supply. I did check and make sure it was authentic with the label at the bottom. But that's all they had at the beauty supply, and I was kind of on a short notice. So, yeah, this is going to really help the edges stay down. And you see I put it on her edges, but I really put it on that first cap that's underneath because I want that first cap to melt down with the second one. I'm really trying my hardest to protect her edges, to keep the integrity of her edges. Then I just go in and cut the extra off after that glue has dried some. And you see she still has a lot of headroom exposed. We didn't bring it down too far, but it is covering all her edges, and she still has enough room to kind of look fly. Like, she won't look crazy with the frontal all the way down on her eyebrows. No, it's like barely on her edges where her edges begin. And then for the sideburns, I think I'm going to come in right now for the sideburns and just lay some tape down. Yeah, I like to lay tape down because it's really hard to protect those sideburns from the glue, but the tape on top of there does protect it. It does a really good job. And the tape gives you extra hold, extra reinforcement. So you know that lace is not going anywhere. So 2 for 1. It protects your edges and it lays your wig, keeps it laid for a long time. Here I was matching her foundation. You really couldn't tell, I guess, on camera, but I can tell which one looked the best. And when you do this, you really want to wait for that glue to dry. Almost completely. But I always go in with the darker foundation, never a lighter foundation, because I just think that the lighter, it doesn't blend. I kind of mix 2 in this case, a lighter and a darker one, to kind of get that nice blend, because you want it to be darker, because when you put that lace on top of it, that lace has a color and it's lighter. So you want something that's going to peek through that lace, which is darker, in my opinion. Rub her head with alcohol, and then I take some protectant and I just dab that over the front of her hairline. Apply more tape. Here's where I messed up. I should have taken that first tape strip off before I added this second one. You'll see me fix it. On the other side, I do that. I take the ear tab off before I lay the other long ones around the front of the hairline. See, I took that one off because it's hard to measure the tape. The tape is long. So you see that tape is on top of that one. So I have to take it off and do the most, but you live and you learn. Nobody is perfect and nobody is above mistakes. Remember that. I promise this is just extra protection from her for her hairline. And when she takes it off, all she has to do is use the glue remover and everything's going to come off. Her edges are so far back that you wouldn't even she wouldn't even be touching them. There would be no glue residue on her edges when she takes this off. But then I'm going to go in with my glue again and put in a thin layer on top of the glue and the tape, and a little bit right before that glue. Right before the tape. Excuse me. So a thin layer of glue right in front of that tape and on top of the tape. Because you want a nice width of glue. But you want it in the small layers. And I want some right above that tape. So it stays lying down flat. And it's right on her edges. Well, on the edges that we're creating. Yeah, I gotta excuse my big belly. I'm pregnant, so the baby be in the way. She be in the picture. Put a nice thin layer. Thin layers so that the glue dries really quickly. And I did 2 layers. I did the second layer off camera. But right here, I'm just going to place the wig. And I like to put the very beginning of that wig right at the very edge of where that glue is at. We had a little incident with her lace, but don't worry, we're going to cover that up. I get her to help, and I'm just going to press it into the glue into the tape. You want to press those hairs in there so they stay. We had a problem with the pressing comb, so kind of burned a hole, but that's okay because that part is literally either going to be cut off or it'll just lay down when we lay the edges. And before I put the elastic band, I like to leave the ear tabs out anyways and spray a little bit of hairspray just to make sure that it's extra, how do you say, stuck, basically. I want to make sure everything is held down really tight in place. I tie the elastic band pretty tight. And we want to just let that sit for a minute. And then when it comes to styling, I like to break it up in sections as I would do my regular hair. Go in there because that lace, for some reason, at the root of it, it's really, really thick. So you have to kind of go in with your pressing comb and lay each and every section down as if you were pressing your natural hair. So I like to do that. Making sure my pressing comb is not too hot. I don't like to use electric ones because I feel like the cord is never long enough for me. It just doesn't go where I need it to go. Or maybe I'm difficult. I don't know. Somebody send help. But I just can't get with that. So I just use my regular oven pressing comb. And it works for me. I've been using them for so long, so I'm used to it. But don't use it if you're not comfortable with it, because you will burn a hole in your lace or you will burn someone's scalp, and that's not a good thing. Because her real head is underneath there. But I'm just taking my Fantasia spritz, my favorite spritz in the world, and I'm spritzing the roots of that, and then I'm just lay it down with my pressing comb one good time. And it is curly hair. That's probably one of the reasons why it's so thick at the top, because it is curly hair. But even though it is curly hair, we still want it to lay flat. We don't want big humps and lumps, especially in the front. Like when people see our middle part, that's not the vibe. So test that out on your hand and just glide it through smoothly. No, most people don't know, but the back of the comb is what gets it straight, not the teeth. But you hold the back of the comb on that hair that you're pressing, and that's what gets it flat. Make sure you cover them tracks in the back. I don't know, y'all. Fantasia spritz is just my favorite spritz in the world. Now, because this is an Amazon wig, either you have to over bleach the knots or you under bleach the knots. And I prefer to over bleach them to make sure all the knots are got. But I just take my black magic hairspray that I get from my local beauty supply, and I just kind of spray it on top of there. Put a little divider so that middle part is still middle parting, and then spray that black spray. It works every time. That first band is always for a client. I always give my client an elastic band so that they know what to do at home and how to kind of maintain their hair. And I'm going to just go comb through. Seeing what I need to cut and what I don't need to cut. But for the most part, I try not to cut any hair. I try to lay the edges into the glue where I want them. But you have to cut that ear tab behind that ear where the lace meets the wig. cutting as less hair off the wig as possible. That tape is going to help secure those ear tabs. Like I said, that hole that we burnt, we don't have to really worry about that because it was on the very edge. When we lay our baby hairs, that'll cover that. And I like to take a razor. Make sure your razor is brand new. When it starts to get dull, it's harder to cut. Mine is getting dull, so it's harder to cut for me. But make sure you always have a new razor. So I say like every 2 to 3 people, you get a new razor. And this is something you want to be very careful with. You don't want to cut somebody. I've cut someone before and it was not pretty. I don't mean to laugh, but it was embarrassing. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I should know what I'm doing. So you kind of just want to make sure you are focused in so you don't hurt your client. And here I'm taking that same makeup that I used on the cap and just kind of hitting them edges really, really quick to get it to really blend and seal in. Not a lot. Just dabbing it so it give real scalp vibes. But you don't want a lot of makeup because you don't want that makeup to mix with whatever you're going to lay the edges with. And I know it seemed like I'm being rough, but I'm really not. The video is just sped up. I tell my clients, can you tilt your head to the side? And I just give it a little push. But anyway, I'm just parting out the hair for the baby hair. I'm showing her that she can kind of pull it back. It looks really, really natural. If she kind of wanted to wear like a half up, half down style, she could. And when I separate those baby hairs, I am kind of tugging on them a little bit because I want to force them forward. So then I take my razor and I'm going to cut the baby hairs to a length longer than what I really want them because I'd rather be longer than shorter. And then I'm going to take my mini curling iron and just curl them back because I feel like you get easier swoops when you curl them. And I am not the baby hair slayer, but I do the best I can. I only use foam. I believe that was the Eben foam I was using. Literally not perfect, just trying to give her some Dominican vibes, you know, trying my best. I love working with foam though. Anything else is too sticky and I can't do it. Then I like to lay it one more time. I did spray some Fantasia spray before I applied the elastic bands. And that's just to get it to stick a little bit more. But this is after we've styled it. And I just put leave-in conditioner, mousse, and water. all in reverse order. So water, leave-in conditioner, and mousse, and then blow dried it so that it's not dripping wet. And there she go. Was still wet a little bit, but she's loving it already. Because it's giving scalp. Where she works at, she kind of does pull her hair back a lot. So I'm just showing her, like, yeah, you can pull it back. It's no problem. Like, it'll be fine. It'll still give real scalp. And that's all, folks. I'll see y'all in the next one. Let me know how y'all feel about it in the comments down below. Peace.